Welcome to Cup of Joe with Poe. I am your wayward traveler, Don Poe. Today we're going to dig back into this Karmelo Anthony case. I want you to watch this little clip here because afterwards I'm going to explain something. And it should be apparent to all of you, but there are some truly lost, hateful, just backwards thinking people. This attorney is one of them.
Austin's father, who is also a defense attorney, attended a public press conference for the Anthony family.
The person hosting this press conference, Dominic Alexander, he refused to begin until Austin's father left. Now, videos show the situation going as far as police arriving on the scene and removing Austin's father.
That was disrespectful and just shows.
I want to know, how is that disrespectful? This man's child was taken from him. His son was taken from him, right? And obviously we know the facts of the case that we know right now. And that is that one person is deceased and the other is alive due to a altercation that, from what we can see appearance-wise, was verbal. What physicality was involved here? Now, why would he say that's disrespectful for that man to come there and try to be the bigger man and say, hey, look, I know a mistake was made here, this young man's life. I'm willing to bet you if they left it up to the father of the deceased child, he would show mercy on this child. Where I wouldn't. I believe that going and frying myself, quit making room for all these people. We can't keep paying for all these, if you take a life, then you should lose your life. Pretty tough vehicle sound in there. So let's finish this.
You are the character he knows.
That is inappropriate to be near this family. But he did it. And so I say to people, actions speak louder than words. What he has failed into is the political operatives.
Not a very good defense attorney. He just stated on national television, actions speak louder than words, and you're defending somebody that their actions took the life of another person due to words. Words. We don't even, this young man got arrested with not one mark on his face. Not one mark. And rain won't melt you, by the way. You can walk in the rain to your own designated area. There wasn't a thunderstorm with golf ball size hail falling from the sky and lightning everywhere. It was rain. Unreal.
That want to make this thing
a political thing of hate, yet bigotry, and yet racism.
But
sorry about that. Now, as he had stated there, they are trying to keep this from being politicized, but yet he's on national television down talking and basically disrespecting the deceased. I don't understand how they can't just come to grasp that a mistake was made regardless of color. I don't know why they got to keep putting color into this and why people are so wrapped up in the ideologies of race. Listen, if you are controlled by your race, then more than likely you're a racist. Literally, if you wake up every day and you got to put some outfit on to go outside to show the world that I'm pro this, right? If you're running around with a mask still on your face in 2025 with all the information and knowledge we have now, if you're still running around with a mask on, you might have a mental problem. Literally. Now back to this case. I believe that there's a lot of mental patience behind this. Orchestrating these, it's real simple. Hey, look, this is what you did. What do you got to say for yourself? He explains his side. They go to court. It shouldn't even come that far. He should probably take a plea deal if he's intelligent about it. I'm telling you right now, I've been in and out of the court system most of my life. I have went in front of a judge. I have went in front of a jury. I fought an attempted murder charge and got it dropped down to 2 felonious assaults, which I wish I'd never even pled out to, because I took a plea deal, the Alfred deal, or NOLO, whatever you want to call it, depending on your state or if you have a public pretender or a public defender. I had a public pretender, which, Keith's not here no more. I hope he's doing good in the Jewish heaven or whichever. Yeah, he was Semitic. He had the Shirley locks and open-toed sandals in a 3-piece suit in court. I should have known right there. Anybody that's wearing open-toed sandals in a 3-piece suit, I should know immediately, probably doesn't have my best intentions, or doesn't have good intentions toward the outcome of me. Just doesn't really care. Obviously, still saving up to get the penny loafers. I shouldn't be disrespectful because he's not here anymore. Whatever. Now on to this case. What are they really going to do? How in the world are they going to defend this as self-defense? That, oh, it was raining. Okay, so let me get this straight. It was acid rain. And the only place to hide from this life-threatening acid rain was under the opposite team's tent. Listen, we are not this slow. We are not this stupid society. Think about this one. Here's what really messes it up. There's people out here trying to help Karmelo Anthony, right? They're not. They're making it worse for him. If they want to try to bring in that, hey, he had a problem, an altercation with these guys already at a party or something, right? So now you just turned it into premeditated. Instead of letting this just play out how it should and see the outcome, and hopefully justice will be done, because this is another thing that's crazy about culture and society. We obviously know this young man's guilty. There's no other way around it. I can't see how there is. He even admitted to what he did, and even asked in the back of the cop car, is what I did considered self-defense? You're questioning your own actions at that point, and you're supposed to be highly intelligent, leader of football teams and other teams and all this stuff, right? If that's the case, why in the world would you go to the opposite tent that you've already had problems with these people already in the past? If that's true, if it's true that Karmelo Anthony had issues with these young men prior to this, now it has turned into premeditated because he got a knife. Let's get this straight. It's 2025. If he wanted to, he probably could have got a hold of a gun. So let's look at it that way. Either way, he was in possession of a weapon. Now, I don't believe a knife could be classified the same as a gun, per se, but obviously look at the repercussions from this. One strike. You mean to tell me you couldn't stand up with the knife and offer to fight with the knife in your hand? Now you have a deterrent to keep them away because nobody wants to get poked with a knife. Instead of stand your ground, which means, here's my weapon, I have a weapon, if you do bodily harm to me, I'm going to protect myself, I am standing my ground. There's actual verbal that needs to go behind this. Not touch me and find out. Touch me and find out is, I am being threatened, I'm in a threatening manner, I'm responding aggressively. Instead of, okay, I could just leave, or let the altercation turn more verbal, whatever it may be. But there's no excuse to pull the knife out and stab the other young man in the chest of all places. Like, you couldn't aim for a leg, an arm. I taught my children, they know how to defend themselves. I taught them non-lethal defense because I don't want my kids taking someone else's children's life. My children are very well skilled at self-defense, and they know if they have a knife or something to defend themselves with, not to stab nobody in the face, the neck. There's certain parts of the body, the torso, you just don't stab people in. You could still die from an arm wound. You can die if somebody stabs the artery in your leg. You can bleed out in a matter of, I think it's under a minute, honestly. I think it's under a minute if you hit that certain artery down there. Jugular, things of these natures. Instant death. Heart. I mean, who does that anyways? Who does that? apparently there was some sort of breakdown, I think, through culture and in the family. They need to dig a little deeper. Most children his age can be reserved. Not most. Children his age are not reserved. They're outspoken. They're ba 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 ba. They may act like they're in a box for a minute until they get used to their surroundings, and then they open up. And they're chatty Cathys and they won't shut up. They're worse than me. We know this. So something's going on in his life. Some ideology was promoted in the household that revolves around, I would say, race, violence, things of these nature. I have no idea what he listens to. He could be listening to nothing but shoot 'em up, shoot 'em, kill, kill, bang, bang music all day long. All day long. I don't know. But if they would do the research and check into things like this, that's what they need to do. They don't need to sit here and try to rationalize and justify why he took that young man's life. They don't need to do that because, for one, that shows that they're on the side of wrong. It exposes a lot of people and shows their true intentions, whether they're racist, whether they're just stuck in their culture, ideologies, whatever it may be. But this is one of those, if you know people, listen to what they think about this case. It'll let you know a lot. There's no justification. There's, first off, racism in 2025. There has been a black everything. It's beyond me how hypocritical people can be. There's no NBA quota of you need X amount of white people playing in the NBA. They went as far to change sports names. It's the Redskins. It'll always be the Redskins. It's the Indians. They'll always be the Indians. Nobody, not even the Indian people, care about that. Wow, we got a live one. Nice mask. I've been telling people nice mask lately so that they maybe can wake up and say, you know what? I'm in a car by myself. I don't need to wear a mask. Why would anyone ride around in a car with a mask on? I've seen little kids with masks on. The mask shit's really pissing me off. But not as much as race. I am so sick of race, dude. I never had an issue with race until I moved to the north. Florida, Georgia. In Georgia, I lived in a small rural area. I'm talking 19,000 people or something max in that area. So the schools weren't that large. There was black, white, Latino, melting pot, this little area. Nobody was racist. Nobody said racist things. This is in the South where you would think like, oh, I bet them white boys was racist down there. Not at all. I didn't even really realize I knew what racism was just from the little bit that they were trying to pump ideology-wise in school about the victimhood and all that shit and poor people. Ah! No. Human beings had different pigment to their skin. Real plain and simple. Keep it science. Quit digging into these flawed ideologies of race. All it does is promote racism and division. So once I realized when we moved to the north what real racism was, I've only really seen it from black to white. I don't see white people. In my lifetime here and there, I've heard whites say racist things before, but along the lines of the same as, wow, they're fat, or wow, she is super tall and skinny, or something that's a observation. Speaking of observation, do some work with your eyes. Look around. If someone is making their appearance offensive, if you have to make your appearance offensive, and some may say, I don't even understand what that means. Think about this, 2025. Let's say I got a pair of $1,200 pants on, right? I even have a $600 belt on, but for whatever odd purpose, I'm stuck in the early 90s and I don't want to actually use the belt. I'm just wearing it just to help pull these pants down further off my ass. I don't mind a comfortable sag, quarter sag, something like that. I understand. I like comfort. I like looser fitting clothes. But even when I did sag, I knew what it was for. I was smart enough then to know this is a culture thing for me to tell others, hey, I'm in a culture that says, look at my ass. I want you to be offended by me. That's what that truly is. So we can spark some sort of confrontation here off of my appearance. It truly is that deep. Some may say, nah, it's just clothes and the way people dress. You got to put more thought into this. Quit being such a simpleton. Quit being so simple-minded. Start tearing things down. Tear the facade off and get all the way to the skeleton so you could see what's really underneath there. You would be shocked to learn how many people in the world that are even around you are not thinking clearly and coherently enough to make a sound judgment on things as simple as a closed case like this. This young man said, touch me and find out. Why would you go to the opposite tent? Because it's raining. It ain't raining that bad. There, like I said, it's not hail. Go to your tent. Go over to you. Anybody that's ever even played sports for that matter. Have you seen the opposite teams go and hang out in each other's tents? When have they started doing that? When did they start doing that in T-ball when everybody wins? Like, everybody's a winner. Maybe in T-ball, but in what world does it seem right that the opposite team, especially if you're the leader of your opposite team, and you're going to go to the opposite team's tent? It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that this is all premeditated. Maybe he even thinks in his mind, I'm black and I'm going to get out of this because of that. I would not be a bit surprised if somehow in his household or somehow his own made beliefs and ideologies, because that's what drives us, everyone, is our beliefs. Our core beliefs, our belief systems is what moves us in a certain direction. I'm willing to bet in the household they were promoting an ideology of like Black Lives Matter and we've been oppressed for too long and all this. Like, if you guys want to really keep it real here, there was a big switch over. There was a big point, and I don't know when, but this makes me want to do research on this. And if you have any knowledge or information on this chat, please leave it in the comments and I'll go back and read them. There was an ideology shift in America. Now, we all know politics pretty much do drive everyday everything, from the cost of something to everything. Believe it or not, politics is that woven in your life that they control commerce, they control all these different things. They control what's on TV and what's not on TV. All this stuff is controlled. So at some point they said, listen, control the media, control the masses. We can't keep these people fighting with each other much longer. They're starting to come together. They're starting to wake up. They're starting to be awake. Well, let's counteract it with woke. Let's go back to the old school playbook and let's demonize the rich so that the poor will jump on the bandwagon, because the poor have a grudge against the rich. They may not come right out and say, but they do. They have a grudge with the rich because they feel they should be rich. That's the truth behind that. The poor have a grudge with the rich. So demonize the rich. Well, let's keep our minorities on our side. So let's pit them against other races. Race warfare. So then they move in with that. They even go as far in politics to give money to programs that create division. If you're just a human being and you're, let's say, male or female, and that's it, and you just go along them lines. Now, if you have to describe something, sure, I'm 5'5" and Caucasian. Simple enough. But it doesn't have to go into, well, I'm a proud white man, and I'm a white business owner, and I can't stand it no more. Listen, black folk, I need to really address you directly. And once again, to me, we're all human beings. But if you're in an ideology that you're claiming your color, your pigment, your race, Sorry to tell you this, but you're a racist. You may not see it, but you are. So try not to do that. Try just being a human being. You are not oppressed. I don't even believe your parents' were oppressed. Maybe your great-great-great-grandparents were oppressed, and at that time, my people were too. There is no use the past as some excuse for poor decision-making in the current, in the now. That doesn't read anymore. Stop with the race shit. There's white people that have turned callous toward this. They're pushing it so much, it's like they're forcing whites to be racist. You can only listen to shit for so long. You can only listen to the crying and belly aching and the woes me and woes my plight and woes my people and the You can only listen to it for so long when your eyes are telling you the complete opposite. You hear me? Use your eyeballs. Black on black crime through the roof. Blacks kill blacks at an exponential rate. Crazy shit. And you won't see that. But as soon as a white person kills a black person, oh, it's time to burn streets down. George Floyd died of a fentanyl overdose. Literally. Autopsy report shows that. I've been choked out before. Okay? And when you're being choked, you can't talk. Do you hear me? You can't, your windpipe is shut off. You can't, your vocal cords don't work. You could strain something. This man's yelling. He's not being choked. Can you even choke somebody from the back? Have you ever been restrained? I have. And arrested at rough house, all that. Beaten on, all that shit, right? He wasn't even done that dirty. He did that to himself by living a life of being a piece of shit. In and out of institutions, jail, prison, threatened a pregnant woman with a gun, peddling drugs, domestic violences. I mean, that's no martyr. That's no martyr. My record looks like I'm a freaking saint compared to this guy, and I got a bad record. I got a jacket. Doesn't always define the person. So I shouldn't sit here and go that far because I didn't actually know George Floyd, but what I know from his jacket and what I know from what the TV has presented, oh yeah, they tried, didn't they? They keep picking the wrong ones. Democrats are behind this, by the way. They gave up all their fighting platforms, all the things they used to stand for, they gave up and went with more race and more ideology behind color and sex and all this. No wonder they lost the election overwhelmingly. What were they running on? Joy? Literally? They didn't even do a primary. Like, it's beyond me that they even thought for one moment Kamala Harris was going to win. They should have ran, and they had a chance. Bobby Kennedy. They had a chance to run Kennedy. They might have won. They can't control him, but they can control the drunk lady. You guys don't see all this? Or are you still stuck in your way of thinking that, oh, he's full of shit. You don't know nothing. Am I a white devil to you? Do you wish death upon me? I imagine there's a bunch of do. I wish peace and serenity upon you unless you've touched a child, hurt the elderly, or, things along them natures. And I believe that should be done back to you 10 times worse. Grape the grapers. Straight up. Okay, so this has been Cup of Joe with Poe. I know we were all over the place, but there's a point behind this. My ramblings may not seem so coherent until you go back and really watch and really listen to what I'm saying. There's a downside to everything. Whether it's all 100% good, there's always going to be something that has some sort of downside to it. Something on the back that you don't know about. Do your research. Check everything out. Do you think that this case right here is self-defense or murder? I believe it's murder. And at this point, I believe it's premeditated because he took the knife to the opposite team's tent. Rain or no rain, walk over to your tent in the rain. It's not acid rain. Fight or no fight, get beat up and live to fight another day. Take a knife and stab somebody in the chest, you ain't got a wound on your face, that's murder. Clean cut. White, black, doesn't matter. If this had been two black kids, nobody would have said a word. You never even would have seen this on the news. That's a goddamn shame. They're still stuck peddling race. Well, don't be a racist, just be a human. It's been Cup of Joe with Poe. Subscribe, like, share, and stay tuned, because there's more Cup of Joe with Poe tomorrow, and on and on and on. Thank you for staying tuned in with us. We appreciate you. One love.